Hey now, welcome to another edition of Refreshing Thoughts. I am your host, Chris Fresh, and I talk toys, pop culture, wrestling, anything that sort of catches my interest. And I appreciate you checking out the video, listening to me on your podcatcher of choice. It all helps. You can hit like and subscribe. That really helps the show out, and I would appreciate it. And thank you to The Shine Worldwide, The Shine, who do our awesome intro theme. Heads Are Gonna Roll. It is a great rock song. And The Shine are a cool rock and roll band, and you can find them where you can find all good music. Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, Grinder, Tinder, the works, they are on it all. And if you want to support the show, I do have Geek Dudes and Hey, it's a podcast. There's a Patreon where at www.patreon.com/c/refreshing thoughts podcast/membership. You can help keep the lights on because StreamYard and Transistor FM are extremely expensive. It's not going to stop me from recording, but it does help support the show for $5 Australian a month, which if you're an American, I'm sure is about a dime or a nickel, or I don't know how your small denominations of money work. But I am not here to talk about that. I am here to talk about a cool new arrival I got. And my thumbnail will give it away. But there is a prolific toy collector here in Australia. He is known as Hordeworld. I've put up on the screen at Hordeworld. He is on Instagram, and he is a very funny follow on Instagram if you're a toy collector. He puts up very funny stories, funny posts, and yeah, it's a good time to follow him. But Hordeworld is also a seller on eBay. And when we transactionally interact, we know who each other are. And Hordeworld had put up 2 items of interest for me this week. And one hasn't arrived yet. He's done the old create shipping label and not sent yet. No, I'm teasing. Hordeworld sends really fast. And one did, and the one that did I want to talk about, and it is something that came out in 2011. Now in 2011 it was sort of a bit of a magical time here in Australia. It felt like there was an era for a while there. Well, there was an era after the global financial crisis that the Australian dollar was very strong against the US dollar. And I got my classics Master Universe Castle Grayskull because Matty Collector was giving them away, I think, at the time, and the dollar was really strong and shipping wasn't that bad, and it was actually a cheap purchase. But at the time, it felt like a lot of money. So I guess it's all relative. But there was an item that came out at San Diego Comic-Con in 2011 that I always wanted. And that was a crossover between G.I. Joe and Transformers, 2 properties that I have an affinity for. And they did a version of the G.I. Joe SKYSTRIKER done up like Starscream. And I never did pull the trigger. It was higher in price. And, it was a big item, I would assume, because SKYSTRIKERs are not small. If I can give you, every time I do this, it's trouble. There's a couple of SKYSTRIKERs up there, the Japanese one and a reissue that came out probably 15 years ago or so. And yeah, the Japanese one is the OG. And I always wanted it and never pulled the trigger. And then sort of the dollar went to hell, shipping got really expensive, and it just appeared it would be a collectible I will not get to own. Fair play things, Colin Betts. I think I had even sort of bemoaned that I had missed out on this Comic-Con exclusive. We're hoping to have Colin on the show soon, so keep an ear or eye out for Colin. But yeah, and I couldn't believe my luck when one turned up on Australian eBay at an amazing price. Not only that, but the seller was Hordeworld, somebody who I like and trust. And even though we don't know each other that well, you can tell if somebody's that you think if we were hanging out and, you know, having a beer or a Milo or whatever your preference is, and we were just chatting that, you know, we wouldn't be politically opposed. We, you know, he wouldn't be a wretched human being, you know, and we'd probably get along okay. I've run into him at toy fairs and stuff like that. Always seems like a great guy. Dirty Uncle Mitch, Anthony Mitchell on Geek Dudes. I think he's met him a few times, says he's a pretty cool dude. So any chance you can get to interact with somebody that you like in a transactional purpose is always going to make the experience feel even better. And what was it, you may ask? Look at the size of this box. It is a Hasbro crossover G.I. Joe Transformers SKYSTRIKER, where they did the SKYSTRIKER up as, oops, they did Starscream colors on the SKYSTRIKER. Always thought it was really cool. So this is the box. I think it was rad that he still had the box. Just to give you a bit of a look at the box, because we're going to look at the product. It gives you a bit of a look there if you wanted to have a look. I know a lot of you listen to the audio, but, you know, I'm trying to grow the visual audience. And because this stuff, I don't mind listening to audio. You know, I pay for YouTube Premium. It's super expensive. I can understand not wanting to deal with the ads. But when you're talking about toys and stuff, I think having a visual to go along with it always helps. And yeah, I thought you might want to have a look at that. But let me show you the toy in question. I'm terrible at that. But here we go. So this is it. As you can see, it is a big jet. I had to pull it back there. I'm not good at that, but you can see the colors. Now, the stickers were already applied, and they may not be applied perfectly, and I don't care. I hate applying decal, and I think that's where people would find it egregious. But I kind of was charmed by how the stickers were applied. Feel free to launch off at Hordeworld in the comments, or go find him on Instagram and abuse him for how he applied the decals. If you find it grossly offensive, I did not. I was thrilled with this. Canopy opens like that, and I like this little touch. It's Cobra Commander's gun, his old Megatron, when he was allowed to be a gun. And it is not the hooded version, which they would say is problematic in this day and age. Oh, I haven't actually tried getting him out. I'll never get him back in again. But here is the Cobra Commander. Now, I originally didn't like this Cobra Commander because as a kid, I had the hooded version, the mail-away Cobra Commander. But I've come to turn around on him and quite like him now. I think it makes more sense from a battle perspective for him to be like that. How nerdy is this conversation? I always call this conversations guaranteed not to get you laid, discussing whether you prefer the helmet or hood on Cobra Commander. But owning this gives me such a dopamine hit and makes me so happy. It is amazing. And I do wonder, sound off in the comments on the video, or you can find me on social media at Refreshing Thoughts Pod. Do you have a holy grail that you felt you missed, and that if you had the chance, you would pounce on it? Because I tell you, I pounced on this. I absolutely could not resist the opportunity to finally own that. Like, I look at it in my toy room and you go, Fresh, you've got so many toys, it just add it to the pile. Fair. But, you know, looking at that, it hits that spot of, yeah, I own that. Rad. And it was something that I never thought I'd own. And it does sort of bring me to, I guess, a broader discussion of, in case you're wondering, that's Axel Slash and Duff underneath the brim of my hat. Where do I feel about sort of like Transformers and G.I. Joe crossing over? I like to say in my collecting and pop culture knowledge, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Oh, quickly, just for the gem. Here was Hordeworld's I'm going to put him up here. Hordeworld. Here is his feedback that he left me. For Hordeworld, trademark, finding a box big enough to accommodate the ridiculous wingspan of the fully assembled, in all capitals, STARSCREAM SKYSTRIKER, and then attempting to pack it securely in a way that would ensure its safe arrival was in the top 5 of seppuku, don't Google it, packings in a long and undignified career of offloading things he had no right owning in the first place. For Chris Fresh, it was a Tuesday. That's a bit of an ongoing theme between Hordeworld and I for Chris Fresh it being a Tuesday, and for M. Bison. I love Hordeworld. He is a funny dude, sells a lot of cool stuff at amazing prices. Go check him out on Australian eBay. But yeah, so G.I. Joe and Transformers crossing over. I think for me, it's a story on paper that I enjoy the idea of, and in toy execution more than maybe I do. You see me looking behind me. I'm seeing if you can see in any of my cabinets behind me the G.I. Joe, the modern G.I. Joe Transformer crossovers, but the lighting will not have a bar of it with Decals. Of, you know, how do I feel about? I feel it's an idea better in toy execution, stuff like that, than perhaps in actual execution. Through Brett Owen from Radical Rewind Cinemas. You can find them there if you live in South Australia or you're around Australia and want to travel to South Australia. Once a month, Radical Rewind show really cool old movies. Like they just showed Wayne's World. They've got True Lies coming up, and you get to watch these movies up on the big screen, which I think is awesome. And Brett, along with Davey Damage from Dave's Video Graveyard, are behind that. Please go support them. And Davey, I love you very much, and you're in my heart at the moment, mate. But anyway, to get back to the topic, I started reading the new Energon Universe comics. I wasn't going to get into it, and I read the first issue of Void Rivals, and it completely sucked me in. And I was sort of excited by the idea of having a Robert Kirkman-driven Transformers G.I. Joe universe. And amazingly, it sort of got off to a bang with the start of Void Rivals. If you hear a noise in the background, my son Connor is hanging out here watching his iPad and listening to Daddy talk. Yes, he spins wheels on his truck and likes singing to himself. So you're going to hear Connor quite a bit throughout this, and that's all right. Connor's far more likable than I am. And yeah, so I've sort of gotten into this, and I've gone back and forth on the Transformers because every time I read it, I'm excited to go read it. But it's been a bit of a bummer in certain aspects because it's very gritty and hard hitting. And in wrestling terms, you know, there's not a lot of hope spots, you know, where it feels like the good guys are going to be all okay. But when they do hit it, you go, yeah. So I don't know, maybe the goriness, as much as you can say with Transformers, you know, it's not blood and guts, it's circuits and metal. And the relentlessness of it is going to pay off. I'm a big Ultra Magnus guy. One of my favorite characters, I think you can see. Look, there's my finger pointing to it. You can see the masterpiece, Ultra Magnus. I have the G1. I've got the blockies on my desk. I love Ultra Magnus. I always thought he was cool when I was a kid. I think being big and yet not having it in you to be a leader, I was able to identify with as a kid. And yeah, poor Ultra Magnus certainly hasn't been able to catch a break in the Energon universe. And I found that to be a bit of a bummer. There was an interesting version of Ultra Magnus in the previous comic iteration where it was a small robot in this giant body, which does play off into the G1 toy, I guess, but this was real small. So yeah, I don't know. A part of me, I don't know if I'd enjoy the Ultra Magnus that I wish I could get, which would be this big hulking hero that steps up for Optimus Prime and does it, you know. And maybe we will get that. I don't want to get too spoilery with some of the more modern issues if you are sort of reading trades or trying to catch up. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about G.I. Joe sort of capturing Transformers. And when I say G.I. Joe, I mean Cobra and G.I. Joe. Capturing Transformers and repurposing them for their own nefarious means. Now, if it's a willing joining of the forces and they're not capturing them and torturing them, sort of like they've done with Starscream and stuff, and, you know, Starscream goes, I dig Cobra, put this logo on me and let's go. A bit like this, and maybe this is based on what happened, you know. You can see, I've always thought the Cobra Decepticons logo was cool, because Starscream and Cobra Commander shared a voice in the 80s cartoons. You know, if it's we willingly are joining forces and slap your logos on us and let's go, I'm up for that. If it's we've captured the Transformers and are experimenting on them and repurposing them for our war, I don't know if I love that. And if I'm coming across unknowledgeable, it's because I am unknowledgeable. And I would love for you to, in the comments, educate me if I'm getting wrong, or point me in the direction of something to read, because I'm always looking for that, then never having the time because I insist on scrolling my phone. But I think there is a lot of potential coolness. I'm just not sure I love the Transformers have been torn apart and then they sort of been rebuilt with Cobra or G.I. Joe military parts to complete them, and then being used in war machines. But then again, I do feel with the Energon Universe that everybody's going to have to come together and take on the Quintessence, which is a cool concept. So I'm on for the ride. I'm ready to go. I hope it's going to be good. I have enjoyed reading the Energon Universe. I guess I have mixed feelings a little bit about Transformers because it's been so bang, 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 and not a lot of and but you know, I always say, as long as the destination, as long as we get to the destination, I'll go along for the ride. It was always my issue with the sequel trilogy was I'd tell you what I thought about The Last Jedi when I saw what happened in the third movie. And the third movie didn't pay off well, and it's like, well, what's the point? I guess they were just fun cinematic experiences for the most part. And the story, I kind of just pretend like it doesn't exist because for me, they didn't stick the landing. If they stuck the landing for you, awesome. I'm glad you're happy. Glad you had a good time with it. That makes me happy that you're happy. More of that in the geek world. But yeah, it's sort of like with Snake Layer in Master Universe. It's like, oh, that's not for me. But if you backed it and you think it's awesome, I'm happy you're getting it. More toys out in the world. Why is that a bad thing? But yeah, I don't mind the idea of seeing this guy, Cobra Commander, wielding Megatron. You know, I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I know the movies are teasing it, and I can't imagine if Michael Bay's helming any of this that they could get it right. You know, I guess I've got a problem of Transformers being written unless they absolutely say it's okay, like unless it's Spike or something. Because when Optimus Prime was riding Grimlock, I was outraged. Me, Grimlock no be ridden. You know, like I didn't like that. Grimlock's difficult, you know, and he would never just give a piggyback to Optimus Prime. Not for me. Hashtag not my Grimlock. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see we'll see where that goes. It's it is an interesting concept, but that's the good thing about comics, isn't it? Like they can exist and it not be the be all and end all. There's always other media. There's always something that you can sort of hook into your veins these days. You know, like if you're not happy with how the X-Men comics are going, there's movies, there's cartoons, there's stuff you can watch. It's the same with most things. You know, if you didn't like the James Gunn Superman movie, and for the record, perhaps my favorite movie of all movies for years. Like I love that movie and I can't wait to watch it again. If that wasn't for you, there's a zillion comic books, there's cartoons, there's movies, there's other things you can go consume. You don't have to let one experience ruin your love of a character completely. You know, it's we've got so many opportunities and ways to enjoy, be it through media, be it through toys, be it through video games. It's interesting that, you know, I was thinking about, maybe this will be a future topic, but you know, when my son got out of a cinema and I did the thing of taking him to look at the toys, and they didn't really interest him. I did bring him back toys because, damn it, I insist. But do you know what he was into? The skins of the Fortnite skins. And I guess for kids now, that's almost like the new action figures. Like Hunter's constantly talking to me about, oh, I've got the Godzilla skin, or I've got the Shredder skin. Like he's into stuff that I'm into, but not into it in the way that I'm into. So sort of things have changed. Maybe if G.I. Joe and Transformers want to take off, they need to create Fortnite skins. And then you could have like the Cobra / Decepticons skins and stuff. I don't know. But I guess what this is, that's what this is for me. It's a Sky Striker in a Starscream skin. And I think it's really cool. I'm not going to play with it. I'm going to display it. I did find a spot perfectly for it. I'm covering up some beautiful She-Ra artwork to do it, but damn it, I'm in space danger. Something else occurred. I had a delivery, and my worst nightmare occurred. I had given explicit instructions for this delivery, and it wasn't Australia Post. So hashtag justice for Australia Post. It was a different courier company, and I said, please go through my front gate. I have no dogs, I have no children or pets or anything that you have to worry about, and leave at the front door. And they said, roger that, got it. We're going to pass on to our delivery partner and we will make sure that happens. And then I got home, and I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but I got, that box is soaking wet. It's been left out in the Melbourne rain. And I was like, oh no. And I quickly brought the box inside and was having a heart attack. Do you know why I was having a heart attack? Because inside was a modern San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that I haven't taken a chance, and I got, and it was the Ghostbusters Ectoglows. Now, I'm going to talk about Ghostbusters on a future episode. But yeah, that sucks. Like, that's where it's hard to be a collector, and you can't just go into a store and buy it off the shelf and check that the box isn't dinged up and stuff like that, because it can be tricky. Now, thankfully, those Ectoglows, I believe, will glow bright. I'm going to open that box and display them. But yeah, talk about a scary experience. Now, this isn't going to be a longer, refreshing thoughts. I just wanted to get something out there for you. But I do dearly want to hear from you. What are your grails? What do you feel you've missed out on? Is there something that you feel you're going to pull the trigger on one day and damn it, you'll own it? I love hearing those stories. I love hearing success stories. Did you manage to recently get yourself a Holy Grail that you never thought you'd get? I know Craig on Yes Have Some recently got a Grail that I've always wanted, and that is the Filmation Ghostbusters Ghost Buggy. That thing is so cool and so expensive. I'm going to show off a Grail from Hordeworld. Again, he's non-stop Hordeworld. He's all over this place. Where is he? Hordeworld is providing me a broken Grail that I'm going to repair, or attempt to repair and display, and I don't care that it's broken because I don't play with my toys. But you will see that on the next Refreshing Thoughts, I would assume. But yes, please leave me comments. Follow the show. Follow me. Where am I? I am at, oh my goodness, that says at Shredder1982. Yeah, go follow him. I am at Chris Fresh. You can find me at Wrestle Rock. We have a show coming up at the Corner Hotel where you can see me put on the kilt, and it will be a good time. So go do that. There I am. I am Chris Fresh. Go follow me on Instagram. I post photos of life and my collections, and there is my Patreon. Thank you very much for watching. Please click like and subscribe. I appreciate your support, and I will speak to you in a little while.